performances. Zach coming down the stretch did a really nice job for us. Mike Conley playing a number of minutes that he had to play tonight, just kind of wouldn't let us lose. And he kept pushing, and kept pushing. He broke through and had a heck of a game. Matt Barnes, he's got numbers in every single category, and then same with Jeff Green. I thought he hit a big three when we needed it. Brent, some guys certainly are out of gas and be tough to practice tomorrow, but we'll bring it in and get some stuff done. The turnovers were a huge issue for us all night long. I think we had 8 guys who had more than 2 turnovers, 6 guys who had 3 or more. So, one of these things where you can press a little bit, you can get a little tight at times. You don't want to be the team that broke their streak, and I thought our focus at times was a concentration we really struggled with, getting the shots that we were looking for, and having the urgency defensively to get back, and certainly the third quarter for them to score 36 kind of indicated that. But all in all, it's always good to get a win and take a question.
Coach, over the past several games have been playing faster with a smaller lineup, with Matt in the starting lineup. Zach comes back in tonight. Can you kind of talk a little bit about the adjustment in pace that comes with bringing Zach back into the lineup and how that affected tonight's play?
I think the length affected him. Their length, I think he was a little rusty at first, thinking that he had sealed guys off, and their youthfulness, their length, and their athleticism. Got a couple shots blocked, but I thought he was pretty good. Integrated back in, he played 32 minutes. He wanted to play more, but I didn't know that he could finish if I went to him too early. So I thought, about the 7-minute mark, 8-minute mark, I was going to be able to put him in and let him finish, and he did. So.
Dave, you speak about your team's turnovers, but what about the turnovers you forced? A ton of them on Philly. How were you guys able to do that, especially down the stretch, fourth quarter?
There's a lot of pressure. Guys wanted to compete and get after him, and we did that. Like I said, they scored 13 points in the first quarter. Our defense was very, very solid. We were very nervous at halftime. It was very similar to Atlanta. We had forced 13 turnovers. There were 3 for 16 from the three-point line, and it was a 2-possession game. And it was really very scary. And as coaches, we don't talk about that stuff with the players, but it's they're going to make, and they came out and hit 7 threes in the third quarter. When you're a team that puts them up like they do, you're going to knock them down. So if they had cut their turnovers down and made a couple threes, which is what they did in the third quarter, and I think would have scared all of us.
You mentioned it being scary. What adjustments did you make for them coming back and regaining the lead after being ahead most of the game?
I was just trying to find guys that were in a rhythm. It was difficult to find a group, which group you wanted to have in there coming down the stretch. We kind of got settled to it, and those guys were the guys that were on the floor, Matt and Jeff at the wings with Mark and Zach, and being able to do the things that we want to be able to do to execute. Zach did a terrific job, coming down the stretch, but Mark. To guard Okafor as well as he did all night was terrific, and a big key for us. They had to go other places for offense. So, I thought that was the crew that had the best rhythm, maybe the fewest turnovers. And you're always going to want to put the ball in your best player's hands coming down the stretch. So it was just a matter of which 2 guys we're going to play with, Mike, Mark, and Zach.
Coach, while Zach was out, obviously you got a good look at a small ball lineup that was able to move the ball a lot quicker. Now that Zach is back and healthy, we presume, how do you see deploying your small ball lineups in the future? Is that going to be a weapon you go to, or only when somebody gets hurt? Or
yes, it's tough. It's a good question how it's going to come out. Zach's going to play 30-some minutes a game, so Mark is playing a lot of minutes, and his load the last 2 weeks is incredible from all those cameras and the amount of pounding and the minutes and the force that is being on his body, and you're starting to see fatigue already set in for him. So. I don't like playing Zach at 5, so I don't know how we'll do that. We'll just keep playing Jermichael at center with Zach. Otherwise, to play small for us, that means either Jermichael plays 5 and Matt Barnes plays 4, or Mark Gasol. And so what ends up happening is Mark ends up playing 40 minutes, and it's very difficult to do. So I don't know how much more we'll see. Out of necessity, we have to do it, but I don't know how good it is for us.
Dave, you talked about settling on those wings at the end, the lineup you're going to use the rest of that game. Is that a feel thing for you? Are you looking at numbers and what's going on in the game, matchups? Just kind of talk to us about.
Yeah,
about
it
that.
is. It's just a feel of, who's defending well, who's making good decisions with the basketball, who's maybe making a shot and stretching the defense out. It's certainly matchup driven because they were playing 2 point guards. So, I felt like, Jeff Green can play some of those guys. I was trying to keep Zach away from Robert Covington as a stretch 4 because he's such a good shooter. He's a heck of a player, man. He is. I love his game. We love his size and his ability at 6'8". You can be there and he can still shoot over the top of you. He doesn't look completely healthy yet. He looks like he's still coming back, but they've got some good young players and lots of length, and hats off to them. That can't be an easy situation to be in. They came out and they played their tails off. They believed in each other, and they weren't perfect either, as somebody said, with 27 turnovers, but they kept fighting, and that's a sign of good character in your locker room and good coaching.
Anything else?